The NOPD increased its enforcement for minor gun offenses, but many of those individuals have not yet been prosecuted by the DA's office.
As Natasha Robin reports, one crime watchdog says prosecuting for felony gun arrests, though, is the most effective.
The police department's doing something differently now that they weren't doing a couple of years ago. One of them is firearms enforcement.
Raphael Goeneche with the Metropolitan Crime Commission says the NOPD is doing more proactive policing, which includes making arrests for gun violations. According to NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, the NOPD arrested 240 people for carrying a concealed weapon without a permit in all of last year. But 70% of those cases have yet to reach a conclusion with the DA's office. Those violations are misdemeanors.
What we're seeing is that most of the misdemeanor cases for guns are still pending, and that's to be understood.
He points out misdemeanor offenders are rarely sentenced to jail time, and he says the district attorney's office is more often pursuing felony gun charges.
And the fact that the district attorney's office may, at the time of screening, reject or refuse the misdemeanor charge to proceed with the felony charge is, I think, a strategic decision that I did when I was a prosecutor.
The chief of screening for the district attorney's office, Andre Godin Jr., says the office is prioritizing crimes of violence, victim crimes, and crimes against society in that order.
And that's the priorities for the police department as well. The police department recognizes that people carrying firearms are the people that are most likely to use a firearm.
According to the Metropolitan Crime Commission, so far this year, the NOPD's made 262 felony gun arrests, compared to 187 misdemeanor gun arrests. The misdemeanor arrests are likely first-time offenders.
So even if they convict a first-time offender, you don't go to jail or the penitentiary for a misdemeanor offense. They usually get a slap on the wrist.
He says the most important thing is that overall the NOPD's proactive approach to making more gun arrests is working. The
fact that violent crime is down, I think, is at least in part attributable to this new strategy that's in place by the police department.
Natasha Robin, Fox 8, Local First.